sometimes, the desert keeps secrets so old and so dark that even the military won't talk about them. And sometimes, the men stationed out there come face to face with something that simply should not exist. This is the true story of 4 Marines, a lonely desert checkpoint, and a creature that could walk like a man, run like a beast, and speak in the voices of the living. If you love real American horror stories, hit subscribe, drop a like, and let's step into the desert shadows together. Welcome to Haunted USA Tales. I never thought guard duty would change my life. It was supposed to be simple, boring even. But boredom ended the moment something started watching us from the desert. My name is Corporal Vincent Restrepo, U.S. Marine Corps. A knee injury landed me at Checkpoint 7 Delta, a tiny outpost 40 miles from Marine Corps Air Station Yuma, right on the edge of the Barry Goldwater bombing range. 4 of us rotated 72-hour shifts out there. Just 4 men. A concrete building. A generator. An endless, empty desert. But before long, that desert didn't feel empty. Our NCO was Sergeant Lawrence Dupree, strict, disciplined, old-school Marine. Then there was Lance Corporal Bautista, funny guy, always cracking jokes to keep himself sane. And the new guy, PFC Michael Ashi, quiet, serious, the kind of person who carried a lot he didn't talk about. On my first night watch, I heard footsteps outside, slow, deliberate. I grabbed my rifle, opened the door fast, flashlight up, nothing. But the motion sensor light had been triggered, and in the dirt I found huge coyote tracks. Too big, almost the size of my boot. And then, they just faded away into nothing. Later that morning, we found claw marks on the door. Not just near the ground, but 6 feet high. Long, deep scratches carved into metal. Dupree brushed it off. Coyote. Maybe vandals. But all of us knew better. Next rotation, Ashi finally told us what he had been trying to say earlier. In Navajo culture, something dangerous lived in deserts like this. Something you didn't name. Something that wore skins, changed shape, and mimicked human voices. White people called them Skinwalkers. Dupree shut it down instantly. No ghost stories, he barked. But the desert didn't care. Night 3. Ashi came into the office shaking, pale, barely keeping it together. I saw it, he whispered. It stood up. Out at the edge of the floodlight, he'd seen what looked like a coyote, until it rose onto 2 legs like a man. We went outside and what we saw chilled us. Tracks that started as 4-legged prints, shifted into 2-legged human-like steps, then back to 4-legged again. No animal moves like that. But the worst moment came at dawn 2 days later. Bautista heard Sergeant Dupree's voice calling to him from outside. Bautista, come here real quick. Same tone. Same rhythm. Exactly his voice. Bautista checked the bunk room. Dupree was inside. Asleep. That's when Dupree finally believed. No one went outside alone again. Not for any reason. Not even if we heard someone calling our name. Because something out there knew our voices. And it wanted one of us to step outside the light. On our final assignment at Checkpoint 7 Delta, the desert felt wrong. Colder. Quieter. Like the air itself was watching us. Late one night, the cameras flickered with static. The generator stuttered. And from the darkness beyond the gate, we heard it. A voice calling softly, Restrepo, come outside. I need you. It was Bautista's voice. Perfect. Flawless. But Bautista was sitting right next to me. We stared at each other, frozen. Something laughed in the dark. Low, broken, almost human, but not. Whatever it was, it moved fast, circling, testing the fence, scratching the metal, running in ways no animal should run. And then silence. Just the wind. Just the stars. Just the feeling that something was still out there, waiting for the light to fail. We finished that rotation without losing anyone. Barely. But something in each of us changed. Dupree tried to request reassignment for us. Denied. Bautista stopped joking as much. Ashi read even more, like he was trying to understand the darkness he'd been raised not to talk about. And me? I wrote letters home telling my girlfriend things were fine. Safe. Routine. But at night, I stayed awake thinking about the footsteps. The tracks that changed shape. The voice that wasn't human. And the fact that somewhere out in the Arizona desert there's still something walking on 4 legs. And 2. Something that knows our faces. Something that knows our names. Believe the story or don't. But out there in the dark, on the edge of a bombing range where nothing should survive, something walked right up to a Marine Corps checkpoint. And it hasn't stopped walking since.